All right, hello everybody. Welcome to the 1011 Now streaming studio. I'm Madison Pitch, joined by one of my favorite guests, Jared Maneri with Lincoln Crime Stoppers. Jared, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. All right, we got a couple of interesting things to talk about today.
Yeah, definitely.
Should we just jump right in, do what we came here to do?
Dive right in. It's
All
summer.
right. The first one we're going to go through, I'm calling it the shoe dash and grab. That's one of my favorite parts of this job is I get to name these crimes.
You get to name it. All right, we're going with your title.
Yeah. Tell me what we're about to see in this video.
So basically what happens, this is at the Dick's Sporting Goods at Gateway Mall, and this is back on July 6th, Thursday afternoon. And this lady comes walking in with a stroller. Looks like she has an infant in the stroller, but what she really has is just a blanket. And in that blanket, she ends up stashing shoes from this store. What they are, they're basically the display shoes. So there's one out on display, but then she would then go and find the other shoe that would match that display shoe, and then she would steal both of them. Interestingly enough, she also has a male that's with her that's kind of carrying an infant around. So this is probably their actual infant stroller. They're just using this as their way of stealing shoes that's a little less inconspicuous, I guess. We know that the staff at Dick's realized later that they were missing a whole bunch of shoes. And so when they went back and looked at the surveillance video, that's when we found this female and the male. So we're hoping that maybe somebody can recognize these two and just kind of give us a tip on where we can find them and or the shoes.
Yeah, now we don't ever see the man in the video, but we do get a really good image of the woman.
Yes. Yes, and we do have a picture of the male. I think he's on our Crime Stoppers page as well. So if you want to see that, you can go there for sure. And actually, that's it here. This is them driving off in the car. So that's him driving the car. The truck is kind of unique. This is a black Dodge Ram, and obviously it's got paint chipping, it's got in-transits, it's got some aftermarket items that maybe if you recognize this truck, maybe you don't know the people, but the truck, you know where it's at or where it's been. You can give us a tip on that one as well.
Okay, so best way to give a tip. We do this every week, I'm sure. You've got this memorized by now.
Yeah, so basically, you can always give us a call at the police department, but if you want to stay anonymous and you want a reward, you really have to go through Crime Stoppers. That number is 475-3600. You can go online at LincolnCrimeStoppers.com, and then of course you can go on the P3 app, download that to your phone, and that's a great way to just then give a tip anytime you need to. Not even something we're talking about. So.
And Jared, something we talked about before turning all the live stream on, I was asking, is this crime something that you think was organized or that has happened before?
You know, we've seen people use like baby strollers before. This is the first time, at least recently, that I've ever seen anybody stealing shoes specifically and putting them in there. So I'm not going to say this is a string that's currently happening, but we don't know. I mean, they may also be a traveling group, and they may be hitting other places as well. So it's just something to kind of keep an eye out for.
Yeah, and you said loss is about $1,200. What charges would they be looking at?
Probably just a misdemeanor theft for this one.
Okay. I think this is incredible that the security camera is pointed right at the action. Did the store see this happen in real time?
Well, you know, the nice thing is that a lot of these stores have the ability to have so many cameras nowadays that they can just cover any area they think is a possible point of interest for someone. And depending on the store, sometimes they do have people that are operating those cameras. My understanding in this case is this just happened to be a good static camera, and when they realized their shoes missing, they went back in the video and went like, hey, okay, that's who took them.
Okay, okay. Again, if you know anything about this, you can call Crime Stoppers. That's a good way to turn in an anonymous tip and get a reward for good information. Jared, you know, I'm a golfer. I know golf shoes are expensive, so that hurts to watch.
Yeah, there were some pretty good golf shoes there. There's quite a few pairs there. So
yeah. Our next case is kind of upsetting, I think. Sassy the pooch,
Sassy the
stolen.
dog. Yes.
Walk me through what we're about to see here.
So basically, this is a residence in the area of 56th and Normal, and an occupant in this residence woke up to a male and female voices in the house. Of course, by the time this individual gets up, the voices are gone, finds out that the front door had been broken into, and the only thing stolen was Sassy the dog here. Sassy is a 7-year-old female pit bull. Pretty much white in color, but it sounds like there's some darker spots on top of her snout, and she has some tannish color on her ears. We are obviously looking for it, and actually we talked about that Dodge Ram. That was actually the Ram for this case.
That's
sorry.
what I thought. That's okay.
So
let's go back to that
previous
car
case. We did have a vehicle that they left in, but that's not the Dodge Ram. The Dodge Ram is for this stolen pooch.
Oh, okay.
So we're hoping that somebody can recognize that truck. It is kind of unique, and we'd like to know where Sassy went. We know that there was a male driving that truck and a female passenger, so hopefully somebody knows where Sassy is.
This is just such a bummer. Why would you steal a dog?
You know, over the years, I've seen lots of different reasons, and a lot of times there's some kind of an emotional attachment. Maybe there's some kind of, I don't want to call it like child custody, but maybe there's something else going on.
Oh, okay.
We don't know. We just don't know what's really happening in this case. We're hoping that somebody recognizes this dog. We do know that Sassy is chipped, so if she goes back somewhere, maybe we can get her identified that way, but obviously not a GPS tracker on her, so we don't know where she is right now.
That's what I was gonna. I am not a pet owner, so when Jared said she was chipped, I said, well, why haven't you guys picked her up yet? They do not work as a GPS. They have to be scanned at the pound when they come in.
Yes, that's my understanding. I don't work obviously at the pound, but that's the way I believe it works.
So she's 7 years old. This happened July 6th. She's white with dark spots in her snout, with tan ears, spots on her body. What is the likelihood? She's been gone for about 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks. I mean, who knows? I mean, she just maybe holed up with somebody in somebody's house. They're loving her and taking care of her. It's possible. Let's hope that's the positive side of the story. We just want to get her back to the owner, really, and hopefully somebody's seen her around, or maybe somebody adopted a dog recently and they kind of go, hey, that looks kind of familiar. So,
do you think that's a possibility that she could have been put up for adoption after this? Is that a lucrative business?
I suppose it's a possibility, but I wouldn't say that we have any reason to believe that right now. I mean, if there's an animal adoption center in town that happens to have seen a dog that matches this, obviously we would love to talk to them.
Yeah. Jared, let's run through this real quick again. You can send in anonymous tips. How can people be sure that tips are anonymous?
Sure. So basically when you submit your tip either online or through one of the call takers at the call center, what they do is they erase all of the information that should be able to be tracked back to you. So when that tip then reaches the police department, even the officer investigating it doesn't know who you are to even contact you or follow up with you. So the nice thing about that is that that keeps you anonymous, and through the Crime Stoppers program, that means that you can also be eligible for a reward for that case. So really, it's a pretty sound system, and you can pretty much trust that if you're calling Crime Stoppers, you're not calling the police department, you're actually calling a specific program to protect your identity.
Yeah, and that's super valuable, because if it's somebody you know, and you know you can identify them and you know that it's them, that could put you in some danger.
And we do get a lot of tips from people that are in relationships, that know somebody's doing something, or maybe even in domestic situations. We get tips through there. It really runs the gamut, and it's kind of interesting to see how those tips relate to people. Obviously on our end, you don't see it much, so we don't know who's we're tipping, but it's pretty obvious in some cases that they must know that person pretty close to know some of the information they do sometimes.
All right, Jared, what do you say we wrap it up on a happy note?
Yes.
You guys have got some exciting news coming up. Tell me about the Zoo Done It event.
I gotta say,
I'm really excited to learn about this.
I'm so excited about this thing. So the idea is, obviously, Crime Stoppers is a fundraiser program for Crime Stoppers. They need the money in order to run the program and to pay out rewards. And if it wasn't for that money coming in, there would be no Crime Stopper program, because it's not federally, state, locally funded in any way. This is literally funded by our community. So what we've decided as the board is they decided that it would be fun to do an event as a fundraiser. And how great would it be if we were able to go to the Children's Zoo and have kind of a murder mystery where you actually get to meet crime scene techs from the police department that will show you some of the ways that they investigate crimes. You'll get to have the ability to maybe develop a few suspects, and hopefully by going through all the crime scenes, maybe you'll get some clues as to which one might be the one who zoo done it, shall we say. And at the end, then there'll be some prizes, and it should be a really fun evening. There's going to be unlimited food and beverages as part of that as you walk around. So it's not a formal meeting in any way. You're actually going to be walking around the zoo, enjoying the evening, and just having a good time with friends and family. And we're really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun.
Sounds like a real life game of Clue to me.
That's kind of the idea.
Yeah, tell me the details. What day, what time?
So the event will be on Friday, August 25th. And it starts at 5:30. The event kind of kicks off about 6 o'clock, and it will go up until about 9 o'clock is our estimation on that. And If you want to get tickets, you can scan that QR code that's on your screen right now, or obviously you can go to lincolncrimestoppers.org. That's where you can buy the tickets. Tickets are $75 for an individual, or $70 for a couple or more. So obviously, bring a friend, and it should be a really good train.
Now, are there a limited amount of tickets? Is this an act fast kind of thing?
Yes, there are a very limited amount. We are limited based on the fact that this is our first year, and on the room we're going to start in, we have to limit to about 150 people.
Okay.
So not a lot. We don't want to overwhelm everybody, have everybody overwhelmed on their crime scenes. So we want to try it out this year and just see how about 150 goes, and then who knows if it's a success. Maybe we'll grow it next year, but it's a limited item right now.
Yeah. So Friday, August 25th.
Yes.
You
Friday,
said
August 25th.
5:36.
5:30 is like gates open.
Okay.
The event will start at 6. You'll kind of have a little bit of stuff in the beginning, and then you'll be released into the zoo, and then we'll return to our room at about 8 o'clock for kind of a wrap up and some other stuff.
Okay, very cool. And how much of the proceeds go toward Crime Stoppers?
The whole point is all of it's going to be going to the Crime Stoppers.
Awesome.
We got some good sponsors that are coming online. We'll hopefully be able to talk a little bit more about those next time. I know we've got some good food vendors that are already online. We've got Valentino's, Chick-fil-A, the Parthenon have already lined up as some of our vendors to supply food just for people as they're walking around the zoo.
Yum, yeah. And if you're interested, we will have that QR code posted so you can find it to get tickets. I think that sounds super fun. Hopefully I can get off of work to come and see you. I think it sounds great. Jared, anything else you want to talk about today?
No, I think that wraps it up.
I think we're good. All right, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week here in the 1011 streaming studio.